we can't survive unless we figure this out.
One of the first things I do when I wake up is check Twitter and see what's trending.
Consumers are not just sitting in front of a TV anymore.
The next 20 years, everything is going to be on social media. Everything.
In 1940, Lowell Thomas hosted the first ever television news broadcast, which was a simulcast of his radio show airing on NBC.
Unaware that at any minute it's going to be submitted to its first survival test of the atomic age, New York City goes about business as usual.
For roughly 60 years, the television news industry worked as a constant, the voice of the community, broadcasting across the country in dozens of markets and to millions of people. But in just the last 20 years, everything we knew about traditional news is changing.
At one particular station where I was working in the mid-2000s, I believe this would have been 2006 or 2007, they put out an email to the staff saying, hey, if we catch you with your cell phone in the studio during a newscast, you may be subject to disciplinary action because you're supposed to focus on your job. But it wasn't too much longer after that a new email came out that said, hey, if you don't have your cell phone in the studio while you're on the air, you may be subject to disciplinary action because you got to tweet.
Nathan Tannenbaum is a veteran news anchor working at 8 News Now in Las Vegas. He's also witnessed firsthand the changes that social media has brought to the news industry since its beginning developments.
It was like a 180 turnaround when cell phones and texting were initially, in my experience, at where I was working, were seen as an annoyance and a distraction and could get you in trouble. And then all of a sudden it became, whoa, this is something that we have to do, and you better get your butt on it.
So what caused this seismic shift in how we report the news? Was it even necessary? Kelly Hatmaker, assistant news director for Fox 13 in Seattle, has also witnessed this rise in social media over the past 2 decades and says that social media has the ability to completely change an audience, which is part of what makes it so effective.
Broadcast news is extraordinarily profitable. Newspapers before that were extremely profitable because there was no other way to get to an audience. And in some ways, that's still the case. However, almost as soon as the lights turned on, social media and web started to nibble away at what we were doing.
Since then, it's become adapt or die for nearly every traditional news station. Social media as a platform or as a medium has enabled reporters to share information in real time, which used to be impossible when reporters were forced to wait to publish their stories until the 5 or 6 o'clock newscasts. Canadian philosopher Marshall McLuhan helped build the theory of media ecology, studying this very topic. McLuhan believed that the medium of media, or in this case, the platform, determined how the audience consumed the message. Today, social media has created a medium to reach new audiences with that same message that's being shared on the television screen. But in this case, the social media platform has created a new set of expectations for the audience that television can no longer provide.
People cannot wait any longer. The web has changed our attention span and our idea of what's acceptable for delivery.
As the audience on social media expands, so does the need for reporters to be active on the platform. After all, the job is keeping the community informed, and social media provides the perfect medium to do just that.
If social media and updating the public and your viewing audience on what you're working on or what's going on in their neck of the woods isn't included in your workflow, you're doing yourself and the public a disservice.
Guy Tannenbaum is a breaking news reporter at KHQ Local News in Spokane, and a main part of his job is to post news updates on social media to help keep the community informed.
People see police activity, or they see traffic backed up, or they see fire, or they see smoke. They instantly reach out to us to want to know what's going on. So I feel like it's personally my duty to try and keep people as up to date as I possibly can. And now you can post videos, you can post tweets, you can post up to the minute information on social media, which is a tool that we didn't have, like I said, not even 10 years ago.
In addition, the value of social media goes beyond just timely information. It allows reporters and journalists to have access to communities that have been historically overlooked and undervalued in traditional broadcasting.
There's something called movement journalism, and it really centers around reporting issues in communities that are usually overlooked in their own voice. You know, you're talking about immigration, you're talking about the things that people who are experiencing homelessness go through. That's kind of an offshoot that was able to come about because of social media and because of connecting and activism.
And as community access to internet and social media grows, so too grows the need to expand our horizons as journalists and cover issues in various different contexts.
The race and the ethnicity and the communities in our country are shifting rapidly. So if we are not focused on reporting for every group and fairly reporting for every group, I mean, we're going to be abandoning our duty.
But like nearly every tool that makes our life easier, it comes at a cost.
In the old days, you could pull a trigger on a revolver and hurt people. But today, when you trigger these vast media that we use, you are manipulating entire populations.
And in many cases, social media gives people the unfiltered power to do just that.
My ability to tell news, I'm deliberate. I'm fast still, but very deliberate. I try to vet my sources. I double check my facts. I question the facts as I get them. I have the time and the training to really go out a story. Social media now, as I've seen it evolve, that's not been the case.
The problem now is that anyone with an internet signal and a phone in their pocket has the ability to report the news. And in many ways, that can be helpful when building dialogue around certain issues or events, but it can also build an environment for spreading misinformation.
You have to have that curiosity to, okay, this is what they're saying. That's crazy. Let me go see what other sources are saying.
We're taught how to do this. We're taught how to vet sources. We're taught how to vet information. And there's a reason why we don't just report every single thing that we hear from John Q. Public walking by a breaking news scene.
So what does all of this mean for the news industry? Where will we get our news in the future, and what will the news look like? The unfortunate answer is, well, we don't know. At least not exactly. But what we do know is that people will always have the inherent desire to be informed. News isn't going anywhere. It's just going to look a lot different.
I think it comes down to stories. Content is king. It doesn't make a difference how we see it, how we download it, how it gets plugged into our brains. We want to know more. And I think that no matter what we do, we have to remember that broadcast journalism, no matter if it's broadcast over the air, online, on social, it's all broadcast. Broadcast journalism is two things, though. It's broadcast journalism. You don't get to the journalism without the broadcast. Whatever the change is going to be, we have to remember it has to be consumable, either readable, clickable, or watchable.
Reporting for the Communication and Leadership Capstone Project, Christian Saez, Gonzaga University.